Hey, what's up, Dodgers Nation? It's the 3 Up, 3 Down podcast. On this edition, we're talking about a player with a ton of history with the Dodgers who did not get into the Hall of Fame this week, who should have gotten into the Hall of Fame. Welcome back to the 3 Up, 3 Down podcast. My name is Eric Yulo, your host for this Dodgers Nation production. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram. That is at EEULAU. It's been a while since I've done one of these. I'm a lot hairier, I probably look a lot worse, but hey, it is what it is. But I thought, what better way to reboot this Dodgers podcast series than show my support and explain why a longtime Dodger killer and one of the greatest San Francisco Giants of all time belongs in the Hall of Fame. And I'm talking, of course, about Barry Bonds. Why the hell are we talking about this? Because this week, the Hall of Fame 2022 election results came out, and David Ortiz, longtime Red Sox player, a great player, some incredible October moments for that team on top of some great regular season moments as well, was the only player that got elected. Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens did not. It was their final year of regular eligibility. They can still get appointed to the Hall of Fame by the Veterans Committee. That's a podcast for a different day, but I just want to come out and say that Barry Bonds belongs in the Hall of Fame. I know the steroid era is a black eye for baseball. However, Barry Bonds is one of the most important baseball players of the last 30, 35, 40 years. The stats speak for themselves. We'll get into those in a second. But Barry Bonds, if you're going to let David Ortiz in, who had his own history of steroids, allegedly, no one really knows for sure. My guess would be that Bonds, Clemens, Ortiz, Rafael Palmeiro, Sammy Sosa, it kind of all adds up if you look at the stats, you look at the trajectory of their careers and the power numbers late into their 30s. But look, if you're going to let Ortiz in, and he deserves to be in there too, and that's fine, but to not let Barry Bonds in on top of Roger Clemens, let's call it what it is. Barry Bonds was a giant asshole during his playing career, and none of the baseball writers like him. David Ortiz was not an asshole, and all of the baseball writers like them. He played an incredible role in rejuvenating the city of Boston after the unfortunate incident at the Boston Marathon, and more kudos to David Ortiz. But Barry Bonds is an incredible player, and he deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. You cannot tell the story of baseball without Barry Bonds. And I was talking to someone about it, and they brought up an incredible point. The reason baseball writers hate Barry Bonds, on top of his demeanor, on top of his attitude, is because he holds the most sacred record in all of professional sports, and that is the career leader in home runs. That is a sacred statistic. Hank Aaron, Willie Mays, Babe Ruth. There's some legendary names, and he's on top of all of them, and baseball writers absolutely hate that. And just when you couldn't think baseball could do anything else wrong, you talk about the lockout right now, you talk about the pace of play, you talk about the regular season ratings, all of that. They just keep tripping over their feet, and these baseball writers, I'm sorry, there's some really smart people in that room. This was a very dumb decision. Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens belong in the Hall of Fame. There's absolutely no doubt in my mind. You want to put an asterisk on it? That's fine. That's fine. I don't care. But they belong in Cooperstown. Before I start getting DM'd by Dodger fans, not that I do a lot, but I appreciate those who do, I hate the Giants. I hate Barry Bonds, but I respect the Giants, and I respect Barry Bonds. I mean, look at the numbers. Put him in as a Pittsburgh Pirate, for all I care. 2 MVPs, 2 All-Stars, 3 Gold Gloves, 883 OPS, an incredible power-speed combination, one of the best 5-tool players in baseball at that time. Now, the Giants' numbers speak for themselves. I'm not going to run down them. We all know what he did. He was getting intentionally walked with the bases loaded. The bases loaded. That's how big of a presence he had. If you want to let David Ortiz in, that is fine. But to do it based upon the fact that Barry Bonds was a huge dick, and you guys are going to hide behind the fact that you don't think the Mitchell report's legitimate with David Ortiz, who was named for testing positive for PEDs, that's fine. If you don't think the Mitchell report's legit, that's fine. But I'm telling you, a lot of those guys were doing steroids in that era, and a lot of the pitchers were too. A lot of the guys throwing those 99-mile-per-hour fastballs, probably including Eric Gagne, we're on the juice as well. This is a huge miss by baseball. This epitomizes everything this sport does wrong, and I love this sport. But to not have Barry Bonds in, to not have Roger Clemens in, to not have Sammy Sosa in is a crime. Baseball has decided it's okay to have a Hall of Fame without a 7-time Cy Young winner, which is a record, and a 7-time MVP winner, which is a record. Barry Bonds is suspect numero uno for why baseball writers are mishandling and continue to mishandle the Hall of Fame. That's it. That's all I got time for today. Thank you so much for watching. Please make sure to subscribe, rate, review to the Dodgers Nation YouTube channel. Follow us on DodgersNation.com, Twitter, Instagram, and for all my Lakers fans out there, make sure to check out our new Lakers YouTube, Lakers248, as well as some of our writers contributing to alllakers.com, which is a Sports Illustrated website. You'll find some good stuff in there too. But thank you for watching, and I will see you on the other side.